Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is CBR number 3, and this is the Open Cat 4 race. So like usual, started out at the front, just trying to get a good start. I was a little slow, actually, just leaving the blocks there, but still not too bad. It strung out pretty good from the beginning, and that's just normal for the start of a race. There's my teammate Jack O in front of me. He had a good weekend this weekend. Nothing too special. He's probably a little disappointed, but he still had a good weekend. Jack's been running in the top 10 pretty much all year. He has 3 wins already when he was in Cat 5, and now he's moved up to Cat 4. So let's get him back on the winning track hopefully soon. Honestly, I really don't. I don't think I like this side. I don't really like this side of CBR. I guess this is the Carson side, and I think they call the other side the Dominguez Hill side or the Compton side. But yeah, the Carson side, it's just kind of. I think they're close to about the same size courses, but this one, kind of rides a little small. It kind of bunches up a little bit more, and it's a little more surging. And I think just the way the course flows, it just leads to a little bit more stop and go. For whatever reason, people are on the brakes in these corners, sometimes even uphill, maybe just because it's so bunched up. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this side. Don't get me wrong, it's not like the worst in the world or anything like that. I'm just not a big fan of this side of the CBR courses. So anyway, this was the first race of the morning for me. It's early, 7:30, and honestly, I didn't race this race too well. Actually, I didn't race well this whole weekend. Saying that I want to get a good start and start up front, I don't think I was in the top 10 like the entire weekend. So that's not really, and I don't mean top 10 finish. I mean top 10 period. Like I don't think I was ever in the front of a race. And honestly, it's a different experience riding at the front than it is from middle back. Usually at the front, even though you have to put in a little effort here and there, it's usually a lot easier, a lot smoother, a lot less people. You can predict your own lines for the most part. And when you ride kind of middle of the pack to the back, it's a lot more punchy, a lot of stop and go, a lot more sketchy. You got to kind of navigate your way around all the bikes to the left and right of you. So yeah, it's always better to be up front, at least in the top, say 10, 12 positions, than it is to be 20th place or back. So just a little bit, the characteristics of the course. It's just a 4-corner crit. Most of it's pretty standard. It's relatively flat. There is a little climb that we just finished right there. I'll talk about it when we get to it. But the course is relatively flat. This is a little bit of a false flat here leading up to the finish. Honestly, the course should be a lot faster. We're just at Cat 4, it's not as smooth, so obviously you're going to lose speed without the benefit of just being smooth. So turn 1 here is a basic like 90-degree turn. Yeah, nothing too special. It's really wide road. You got the cones on the left that narrows it down a little bit, but we're still almost four lanes wide, so it's a really big road. Leads down here to a downhill in turn 2. Same thing, really big road. There's no cones on this side, so we have the entire like 5-6 lanes, whatever it is, 5 lanes. And then there's a little hump, and then it leads to a downhill. So we're on the hump now, which you never feel it, just because you're carrying so much speed. Leads to a downhill where we should get some pretty good speed here. We should be up over 30 miles per hour. We should be to the left side of the road just to carry a better angle to carry speed. But because the road's so wide, it causes people to bunch up here. Well, to take the inside, and then it bunches up because this one's actually a little bit decreasing radius. Because they have the cones on the left, that makes it decreasing radius, and it forces us back to the right. That's another reason why we should be taking that with the wide approach from the left. But because the road's so wide, once we go to the left, a lot of people think it opens the door and they try to dive bomb to the inside, causes some sketchy moments and a lot of funneling and just bottlenecking into that turn. This turn here is turn 4. It's actually another wide, flowing turn. It's a little bit uphill at that point, but you are able to carry a lot of speed to get ready for a false flat sprint finish. And the sprint, even though it's a couple hundred yards, maybe it's a 300-yard sprint, I don't know, 250 to 300-yard sprint, um, it actually comes pretty quick. So there's not a lot of time once you exit turn 4, there's not a lot of time before you get to the finish. I mean, it could be like 40 pedal strokes or something, and it's over, you know? So yeah, this whole race, my Cap 4 or 5 video is already out. So obviously I've said a lot of things in that video, and this one's a lot similar. But basically, I just didn't race it too smart. You know, I was okay energy-wise. I was pretty efficient during the race for the most part. I just didn't race it too smart as far as being in the right position, and I wasn't really assertive or aggressive. And I don't mean aggressive in uh, like a dangerous way or anything like that. I just mean, being a little bit more aggressive as far as a race mentality. So I found myself kind of where I'm at here, kind of bunched up in the middle, kind of blocked a lot of times. Just never giving myself a good opportunity to follow moves or to make a move or anything like that. I'm kind of riding instead of racing at this point. Got the normal, the usual suspects in the house. I got a Go Fast rider in front of me there, which is kind of funny. This year, I haven't seen that many Go Fast riders, and definitely not in Cat 4. I know a lot of the guys that I used to race with have moved up to Cat 3, but I haven't really seen them out as a full squad this year. So maybe that's coming. I know Mark Walker, who was one of my ex-teammates, he's been representing out in Cat 5 for Go Fast, been doing a good job. And then we got a couple Go Fast riders in this race here. We got Major Motion, of course, PAA, my squad. And then we got a couple other teams out here too, PRT, and a few other squads, just kind of the usual suspects out in this race. So you'll see too, I think, it's something that we speak about a lot, but I think people just need to take a little bit of a little bit more time spending on like proper lines into turns. And it's not just, sometimes it's people think of like, can I make this line that I'm on? But it's not just can you make it, it's should you make it? Should you be on that line? Of course, there's always a chance you can swing it tight, turn a tight turn or whatever, but should you turn that? Should you take that line? Should you take that approach? Is it necessary, and is it safe for everyone? Because sometimes it's just not, risk versus reward is just not there. I mean, we're only on lap 3 or 4 or something like that. Like, there's no reason to take a risk right now. Nothing you do at this point in the race is going to win you the race, but you definitely can lose the race at this point if you take some people out or take yourself out. Shout out to Jules also. That's Jules up there in the Major Motion kit, the orange kit to the left. I think she was one of a couple females that entered this race, and she lasted the longest in this race. Jules is very strong. She's more than capable of, I think, hanging in this race for the entire duration. I think, when it comes to racing, the women's fields are a lot smaller, and I think sometimes that's something that they have to get used to when they race with us, is we're gonna have a packed field, 75 riders. There's gonna be some close calls. It's nothing special. It's nothing to get excited about. It's just there's gonna be some close calls, and anytime you have a close call, it's gonna slow your bike down, and then you have to be able to match the acceleration of the group. And I think that's like the biggest difference for the ladies. It's not their speed or their fitness. We all ride with all the ladies on our group rides and stuff like that, and a lot of them are stronger than we are. However, we always have a little bit of a kind of like a ace up our sleeve or whatever, is raw power. And that's on situations like this, like just getting up the hill. I do a little 600 watts right here, and a lot of the women max out at 600 watts. That's like a full on sprint for them. And for us, I can do double that 600 watts. I can, when fresh, I can sprint at just about 1300 watts. And, most of the women can't sprint over 1,000 like at all. Not even a lot of the really fast women that are winning races, some of them can't sprint at 1,000 watts. And a lot of the guys can't sprint at 1,000 watts, even some of the strong guys. I coach a number of people, and one of the guys I coach, like a couple years ago, he was up to a 4.5 FTP. He was at an FTP of 315 watts. He can actually hold that 315 watts for an hour, but he could only sprint at like 800 watts. And that just blows people's minds sometimes, because I have a very low FTP. I'm hovering around 240, 250 watts for an FTP, but then I can sprint at over 1,200 watts. So it's just, the differences of body types, the differences of how you produce power, and then that will dictate a lot of how you need to race and how you will be successful or how you will fail in races. So obviously myself having a low FTP, I'm going to fail in races from hard efforts. A lot of hard efforts I'm going to fail in races. That's why I need to be efficient. I need to draft a lot, stuff like that. If I'm forced to cover a lot of moves or run up front and hold a high wattage, yeah, I'm going to blow up pretty fast. But if I'm able to hide like I am, draft pretty well, use short burst, and get to the last lap with a little bit of energy, then yeah, I can make a little bit of noise. So anyway, that's just some of the differences I see. Like when the women join the races, it's not their fitness. It's not how fast or slow they are. Even though our races are faster than theirs, it's more so just getting used to being in a really big Peloton, and also not getting caught out when these surges happen. Just sometimes the wattage, they just don't sometimes have the raw watts to hold on to that wheel in front of them, and it causes a little bit of separation. Also, the difference in our races is once you get separated from the Peloton, it's pretty much lights out. Some of the women, like, they get separated from their Peloton and they catch back up, and for the most part, it's lights out when you get separated from our Peloton. So, and just to, continue on the line that I'm on, like, some of our races are faster than the women's pro races, even though the women's pro races obviously are a little longer than ours. But a lot of that is, again, just because of larger size of the Peloton, stuff like that. It's not that we are necessarily faster than any of those women, because a lot of those women will be faster than most of us men. It's just a difference in the speed that the group can generate opposed to the speed that a smaller group of women can generate. And it would be the same thing to a degree if we only had 20 people racing out here. We'd be a little bit slower than what we are. There's Jack again there, just chilling. Jack's really good at saving energy as well, and just kind of being in the good right position at the right time. I've watched a lot of videos this weekend of this race and the 4-5 race, just because a lot of people got their races, their videos posted before I finished this one or before I did mine. Not to mention, because my wife and I both race, I usually like to give our videos a day or two up by itself before posting another video, just so it won't steal views from the other video. But a lot of racing is just timing. It's being in the right place at the right time. It's not really about who's strong and who's not, because everyone out here is pretty strong. Literally, I'm not saying that just to like be nice or whatever else. Everyone out here is pretty strong. And, it's really, I've seen guys get dropped and, have a poor finish. But there's guys out here that I've seen their videos, and some of them will go on an attack for like a full lap, and they're producing way more power than like I can produce. But for the most part, when I'm healthy at least, like I don't get dropped in crits for the most part. I think I got dropped in a crit last year, and I got dropped in the 3-4 crit this year, but I'm not healthy this year. Last year when I got dropped in the crit, I was like shocked. I got dropped at Tour de Marietta stage 1, and I was like shocked because I hadn't been dropped in a crit other than like my second crit ever. Um, but a lot of it is just timing. It's when you use your energy, how you use your energy. It's not really about like how strong you are. It's really just about being smart and selective on using your energy. And we talked about it a little bit. Like the younger guys get a bad rap sometime just because young guys use a lot of energy often. Hate to stereotype like that, but a lot of the younger guys just are a little less patience. And obviously, as you grow older and you get older in life, you end up developing patience. Um, and patience and excitement, they're both good. It's just, again, it's when you use them. And both of them can get you caught out. Me, sometimes I'm too patient, and I'll sit here behind someone while things are going on, but around me, and I should be moving up instead of sitting here being patient. And then sometimes you can be a little bit too excited and chase every single move there is and just blow yourself up. And I think that's kind of the balance that we all need. And sometimes it comes with age, sometimes it just comes with race experience. But very few people have it dialed in like right off the bat. So, like I was saying, Jack has a very good combination of that, being patient and knowing when to chase a move as well. Um, and it's just like a skill that I think all of us need to develop a little bit more. But you'll see in some races, the same couple guys will like get excited and chase every single move, and then by the end of the race, they're like not there anymore. They burnt out. They burnt all their matches, and you'll also see like me sometime. I will sit too long in one spot and not be as assertive or aggressive, and then I'll get caught out being in 30th position going into the last lap or something, and there's no way you can make up that many spots with other people going hard, and trying to get a good finish as well. So shout out to the team in black there. I think it's Royal Fitness Trainers or something like that. Yeah, shout out to them. I think they came out with the plan also, tried to be aggressive. I don't think it worked out for them this week, but it's good just to see another team out in the Peloton. I think they came out last year and won I want to say they won the Laverne Crit in Cat 5 last year, and kind of burst on the scene a little bit because I didn't see them all year, and then they just showed up at Laverne and kind of won it. If I'm not mistaken, they may have led like from the first lap on, had some good teamwork going. So, yeah, it's good to see just another team out here, and guys having team tactics. So also give a quick shout out to the Chamois Bros. I actually haven't seen them in this race yet. I haven't been paying attention though either. But yeah, they raced pretty good together as well. And I want to say Ben may have gotten second place in this race. I'm not looking at the stats right now. If you haven't noticed by now, I kind of freelance my videos. That's why I never cut them, or if I make a mistake in my speech, some people will say, "Oh, you said this," and I was like, "Yeah, it's just a mistake. I don't care that much about it to edit it and go back and correct myself on any fumble of words or anything that I have." So, but yeah, shout out to them. I saw in one of the videos, I don't know if it was this Cat 4 race or the 4-5 race, but they're pretty much together like most of the race, and race well as a team. Even if it's a two-man team, they've raced well as a team, and it pays off. And like I said, it almost paid off with the victory this time. So again, shout out to the Chamois Bros, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys at the next race or at Tour de Marietta. Engine 11 also, I don't know if Engine 11 is new or not, but I don't remember them out here last year. But shout out to Engine 11. They got a couple guys in in this race as well. I know one of our friends, Summer Alvarado, she went over to Engine 11, I think last year or this year. This year is her first year, I believe. But yeah, shout out to them. It's good just as, like I said before, to see multiple teams or different teams in the Peloton and just, keep growing the sport and keep adding it up. This is my first time going this direction on this course. And I thought this little hill would be harder, but it really wasn't anything. We don't hit it with as much speed as we should, but even hitting it just over 20 miles per hour is like, it makes the hill feel like nothing. I mean, it's a couple second effort. Um, but I thought it would be a little more taxing than it was. And I think maybe some of the hills on the Dominguez Hill side, and they may take a little bit more out of you, maybe just because they're a little longer, a little gradual. But yeah, that hill definitely wasn't as tough as I thought it was. Yeah, I was very disappointed in this race here. Um, yeah, I was just way too passive. Uh, at one point, I mean, I'll point it out when it comes up, but at one point, it may even be coming up now. Um, I mean, we still have a number of laps to go. I want to say we probably have about 8 laps to go or so right now. But at one point, I was almost falling asleep just because I was being passive back here. Um, I almost got detached from the Peloton and almost got dropped. And I was like, it's not because I almost got dropped off the back. It's because the Peloton split in half. And I almost got dropped. And I was just thinking, you know, the hell are you doing? Like, you back here messing around, a little surge comes or a preem lap, whatever it was. And then next thing you know, I got to put in like a hard effort to get back onto the first part of the Peloton. But that ends up burning like a lot of my energy, um, which obviously I wasn't able to use I needed that energy later in the race. I needed that energy going into the last couple laps, and it just wasn't there anymore. And that's part of what I was saying about having that balance of being passive, being efficient, and then knowing when to put in work and cover moves that you need to cover. There goes TJ. He was up front earlier putting in some work, so he's probably, fading a little bit now or trying to recover. TJ and my man Jared right here to the left. Those are the two biggest dudes in the Peloton, It used to be Dano, but, I think Dane is like a third now. Dane's probably the strongest, but he's not the biggest anymore. So, I mean, these dudes are tall and big. So, shout out to them just being out here and getting that aerobic fitness up. When you're larger, like, yeah, there's some advantages, but in endurance sports, it's usually a different disadvantage. So, yeah, shout out to them just having the aerobic fitness to come out and put in like 40 minutes of effort. And both of them usually do a good job of putting in work. They don't just sit passively like I do, saving energy. They go up front and take some pulls and do, different things like that. So, and I don't know if this is the first year Chico Smalos has the red, white, and green. I think last year they may have been blue. And maybe I just missed them last year. Maybe if they changed it last year, but this is my first year, I think, seeing the red, white, and green uniform. So shout out to them too. They have a couple people in the race. I know they have in the women's race. I know one of their ladies did a pretty decent attack off the front. So yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna keep shouting out everybody that keeps growing the sport and bringing people out every weekend. Same thing for Big Orange right there to the left of me. Yeah, Big Orange always has a couple people out in our races and in the women's races. Couldn't see the lap timer there, but I'm thinking we're down to about 7 laps to go, maybe 7 laps to go. I'm also a little bit surprised that our races weren't a little bit faster. I mean, they're just about, I think both of them were 26 miles per hour, 26.2, something like that. And I just thought, since we got a couple races under our belt already, and this course, I thought it would be a little bit more flowing. I thought we'd be closer to 27 miles per hour, maybe like, at least like 20s, high 26s or so instead of low 26s. But I think a lot of it just was because of the stop and go nature. Oh, heart rate's getting up, got over 180, which is not that big of a deal. I think I averaged 177 for this race, which is not that big of a deal. It's a little bit higher than my threshold heart rate. But once I'm in the 180s, there ain't much left. You know what I mean? If I'm above 185, that means I'm putting in a pretty good effort, getting taxed a little bit, starting to get a little fatigued. Good thing is though, I didn't average much power for either one of these races. I think my normalized power was only like 226 or something for both races. So that's pretty efficient, but you know, who cares what your efficiency is if I think I came in like 40th place in this race. So it doesn't matter how efficient you are if you're in 40th. So for the weekend, I got 40th in this race, and I think 14th in the 4-5 race. Um, but yeah, I was pretty passive in both of them. Both of them I could have done better, but it is what it is. So yeah, I think definitely we're coming down to like the last 5 laps or so. Pace should pick up a little bit, especially with all the preems that they give us. They do us dirty with them preems, just for a 6 pack or something. They try to hit you with a few preems right before the end of the race. Um, and, people still go for them. People still go for those preems. And, it's going to be the last couple laps. And that energy that you're going to need in those last couple laps, you kind of burn them on those preems. So it's kind of brutal the way they set us up like that. So I think I remember I was still sitting pretty good right here. My man shoots a snot rocket there, and I was trying to tell him, "Hey, call it out." um, yeah, nobody likes to get a little snot rocket on them. So just call it out, point it out, and try to put your head a little down. So if you do hit people behind you, at least it's on their legs or something. Move to the side if you can, obviously, but it is what it is. Sometimes we get congested or whatever. We need to either spit or snot rocket. But yeah, just call it out. The Velosport guys, I don't know how they did this weekend. I know one of them got taken out in the second race, but um, yeah, they stayed together pretty much, the entire race too. They're always on the inside over there. Um, Want to say they had like four guys in the race with them, 4 juniors, and they stayed together pretty good the whole time. And it's not easy to do. It's hard. I run a team. I have help this year from Marlena. Marlena's actually our captain this year. I was the captain last year, but I'm the race director of PAA now. And it's hard to get people to work as a team. It's hard to get people to sacrifice. I mean, for us, that is our thing. We're going to race as a team. Um, in fact, for you to even get like race benefits and stuff, you need to race as a team. But it's hard for a lot of these other teams to get people to sacrifice for each other. And it's funny to me because a lot of them wear the same uniform. They race for the same squad. They all have the same sponsors, and everybody wants to finish the highest finish they can get, though. Everybody wants to kind of be cutthroat, and it's a little bit delusional to think that you and all your teammates are going to be in the top 10. It ain't going to happen. All of you ain't going to be in the top 10. So I just don't see the point of why not sacrifice for someone to get them higher finish for your whole team, for your sponsors, for all of that. Do a little teamwork not be as selfish, and get one of your guys a win, whoever it is. If one wins, you all win. So that's just my philosophy. But I know everybody's like that, not like that. But for the most part, I'm just thinking, okay, if you want to race by yourself, why join a team? Why join a team, have team practices and all that kind of stuff, and you're just racing for yourself? You might as well just throw on your own kit, go out there and do your thing. So I think this, I don't know if this is the point where I kind of fall asleep for a little bit and almost fall off the back. It may be in another lap or so, but we should be down to like 3 laps, maybe 4 laps to go. And it's definitely not a place where you want to fall asleep. This race doesn't seem as sketch as the 4-5 race, but yeah, maybe it's because I'm so far back. I don't know. I guess if I want to see what's going on, I got to be up front in the mix. But yeah, this race didn't seem as sketchy as the later race in the day, the 4-5 race. So yeah, I think this was the point that I was just kind of sleeping back here, and now I got to put in like a harder effort to get back onto the group. Not like they were so far away, but yeah, it happens quick. A little surge, and next thing you know, you'll be way out of position. And if any of these guys get dropped, then you're dropped, basically. You know what I mean? Because you got to go around them and then put in the harder effort to get back up to the Peloton. So definitely coming into the last couple laps. And it happens quick. Like, you don't even realize it because it gets so stretched out. You don't even realize, like, oh shoot, like there's nobody in front of these guys that you're following. And then you have to realize, like, I got to get around these guys and get back up to the group. And you see what happens here. See a little acceleration, and there's a big gap now. So you definitely don't want to get detached from the main group here, because it's a lonely road after that point. So I'll give myself a little pat on the back. Kudos to me just from getting attached again. But as you can see, look how high my heart rate is now. So, I'm definitely wasting energy at a time that I need to be moving up, because I'm wasting energy trying to catch back up to the group now. And they're not letting off. I'm definitely maxed out now. 187, I max out at about 188 on steady efforts, maybe 190 now. But yeah, there's not much left in the tank right here as far as beats per minute. I don't remember feeling it though, to be honest with you. I don't remember feeling like, oh, I'm taxed, like I'm tapped out. But obviously I was, because if not, I wouldn't have finished in 40th. I'd have finished a lot higher. But being back here with 1 lap to go, and I'm just trying to reattach to the group, that's just taking a lot of energy. As you can see, I'm doing 350 watts. I told you I have an FTP of 250 or so. So I'm 100 watts over FTP. Just trying to like sniff a draft. The only good thing is you get to carry your own corner speed through there. So I went through there at 29 miles per hour, which all race we've been doing, 24 and 25. I have no clue why exactly, but it is what it is. So now we're 1 lap to go, and I just burned all my energy, just reattaching to the Peloton. And I'm just guessing we're 1 lap to go, but I'm pretty sure we're just 1 lap to go now. And I end up turning the corner in, like, I don't know what place, 50th place or something. So yeah, a little opening here, so I move up some spots, but honestly, it doesn't matter that I'm moving up some spots, because I don't have energy now to make a move. You see my heart rate still high. It's trying to come down, but the group is definitely going to explode again in a second, and I just don't have the energy. So I might be in, I don't know, 30th place now or something. I really don't know. And I definitely have too much experience to be back there in the back just chilling and falling asleep and, then getting dropped by the split of the Peloton. And even here, I need to pick a side. I'm like, yeah, it's able to shoot up the middle, but you saw I was doing 500 watts. Like, yeah, pick a side, draft a little bit better here. It's not like I'm going to make any significant um, impact on the race being this far back. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are, how fast you sprint. You're not going to turn the corner in 30th position and make any type of impact. So yeah, this is definitely just trying to finish now. Yep, 188. Tried to sprint for a second, only hit 800 watts. Yeah. Definitely did not race well this weekend, but hey, 2 more in the books and the journey. Thanks for watching.